Hey, welcome guys. Today we have a mini diorama. So this is from the pretty new Tamiya release of their little MG team, their machine gunner team, obviously from the Germans. That comes with a nice little brick wall. Uh, I have that leftover Ammo by MiG scenic mat that I use. Got a little wood block at Michael's. This wood crate is left over from I don't even know what other model kit we had. So really, really fun. If you haven't bought or seen this figure kit yet, they got to be the best plastic models, or sorry, plastic figures that aren't resin, right? I guess it wouldn't be plastic at that point, but like molded, traditionally molded plastic figures. These are the best that I've seen. And if you like me, I'm not a huge figure painter. I really just have done it for tanks. These are great figures because they're so good. They'll end up looking at least pretty good. I've seen better figures than what's in here. Um, but I'm very, very happy with it. And it was really, really fun to build. So we'll take a step-by-step process on how we got there, some little tips and tricks, especially when it comes to the brick wall, because I saw a million things out there. I have Ammo by Meg's Vignette book on how to make brick, and there were a million steps and different things you needed, and I don't know. I kind of just experimented, and I'm really happy with my end result. So that's closer to the end. But first, we are going to assemble our figure. Now, there's two schools of thought on making figures in general, making and painting. There is the assemble everything and then paint it, when it's all together. And then there is the leave, the head separate, the gun separate, things like that, paint them separately, and then assemble them together. I do not like to do the second one. I do not like to assemble things after they've been painted for multiple reasons. The first being you can get glue on stuff, on paint, right? And the model glue just like strips paint or stains it or whatever. It's not a good combination. And the second piece, especially on a German figure, is there's bread bags and canteens and ammo cases and bayonet. There's a million things going onto the figure. And we all know that unless it's super glue, the glue doesn't work all that well over paint, right? It's meant to adhere to plastic and things. And I just knock stuff off. Stuff falls off during the weathering, and I don't know. And then it actually happened with the MP40 figure in this kit. I end up just not finishing them because their stuff's fallen off, and if you use super glue and you get that on the paint, because you drop one of these tiny pieces trying to put it on, then you have a real mess. So I like to assemble everything. It definitely makes the painting a little bit, well, probably a lot harder. It takes a lot more time. But if you paint from the, we'll say, inside out, it's really, really not that difficult. This is a decently difficult figure to paint because of the pose he's in. Usually, if they're like standing up straight, I think it's obviously a lot easier. Everything's accessible, but not too bad here. Because it is a German figure, we're going to end up doing things in a lot of different colors. I originally drilled a little hole in his leg and mounted a piece of sharpened sprue to the figure. Ended up breaking. You'll see I mounted him on a screw later. And then, as you see, I just primed him in German gray because I had a little bit left in a rattle can and I didn't have any primer left. So it works fine. I've done that probably 10 different times and I've never had any issues. After that, what we're going to do, if you watch the little figure video I did, I don't know, a couple weeks ago now, just using that same method of super, super thin paint, not going quite as thin on his face, simply because I kind of want to get in and get out of there. I don't want to, you know, overpaint too much on this figure, but still keeping it really, really thin so that it's more of a glaze, more of like a wash. that we're going to end up doing like 7-8 coats of. Rather than just like 2 or 3, you want to keep it as many coats as possible, because it's just going to end up keeping a lot more detail. Um, the accentuated and the eye structure, things like that. If your paint's too thick, one layer and all that's gone, especially on a face. So we're going to do the same on the uniform. Is going to be really, really thin. The good news is that green painted up in like 3 layers over the gray. It was really, really easy. Um, so that part is definitely nice. Then I'm going to do a little, this is, everything I use is Vallejo or Ammo by MiG for the figure, except for the black this is Tamiya's just flat black, mixed with some paint retarder. If you haven't used paint retarder, I've said this before, I think it's probably Tamiya's like best product. Not that they don't have a million great products, but it's the most game changing because their paint kind of stinks to paint with, brush paint with at least. It's amazing in the airbrush, brush painting not so much. It makes it much more enjoyable. But the rest, we're gonna go straight, kind of I guess classic acrylic, Vallejo. I think this is the newer old wood. I forget what color that is, but getting all his different pieces painted up. Carefully gonna paint in the straps here. What I like to do is try to make it so we are like one super thin coat away on his uniform, because if you're like me, I am going to overpaint in those straps and we're going to have to come in and paint him later. But again, paint inside out, right? So we painted the gun up last, the helmet last, things like that. Get that bread bag, anything like that, the belt, right? Get that stuff painted before you do anything else, so that it just minimizes the amount that you have to come back and fix later. Next up, we have him gloss coated in TS13, and we'll set him aside, let that dry for about a day before we do decals or decals, if you're in the UK, of course. I always kind of hate how it looks with gloss coat on it, but it is it's not necessary, but it's just kind of a routine step I take now. So this block was like $1.99 at Michael's. It's just a little cube piece of wood that I sprayed with like a black Rust-Oleum, just regular old spray can, and let that dry. It dries pretty quick. And then this is leftover from, this was like the dry grassland scenic mat from Ammo by MiG that I got. And we're just going to attach that with the scenic glue. I do end up weighting that down a little bit. It does need a little bit of weight on it. I pretty much just put like a full jar of Tamiya paint on it. Just, it doesn't flatten anything. Everything kind of puffs back up when you take it off. So another great piece of this Tamiya figure kit is, and they're doing this on a lot of their figure kits now, we get some little decals. So the shoulder straps, belt buckle, things like that, we're going to get in the insignia on his helmet, which is really, really nice. The difficult thing is putting them on. If you've ever done small decals, getting them off of the classic blue decal paper is very, very frustrating. So I have to go double tweezers. It's even harder to do it on camera. But it adds so much great detail that we couldn't really add with a brush. If you were really, really good, you could, but the average modeler like myself, we're not gonna be able to do that. So great for the masses, I guess. Next up, we're gonna use, this is Ammo by MiG's decal set and decal fix, which is like the micro saw and many other products out there. But if you've watched my other videos, I typically use Mark Fit, but it's got a really big brush, and these come with a much finer brush. So the idea is the fit first, let that dry, the decals will stick in place, and then you use the fix to get them to kind of melt into the details. Next up, we're not going to do a ton of detail on the face. I don't like to do a ton of detail on the face. Simply, again, I don't know. I don't like doing eyes on figures. I've seen one 1/35th scale figure. I saw it on Instagram. I forget the guy's account now, but that I thought truly looked like real. Like I almost believed it was a person. Aside from that, I feel like a lot of them come out looking cartoony, and because of, I guess, my level of figure painting, they would definitely look cartoony. So I'm just going to avoid that and use that Tamiya accent. It's like a panel line, but obviously skin color. Then we're going to do a pretty much like a sludge wash here with some black wash from Ammo by Mig. And this is really all the weathering that I do with figures. We're going to use a cotton bud to basically we're like going to let that wash dry for like an hour so that maybe it started to adhere to some of the inside portions of the figure, but there's still a little bit of thinner left, so we can start wiping it away easily without thinning our Q-tip, because we don't want to wipe all of it away. We want to end up with what we have here, which is some nice black in the folds, under the flaps in his jacket and the recessed places, just to add that shadow effect, and make what we do next, pop a lot more and just look a lot better. So it does take a lot of cleanup. You could be a lot more tidy with it, I guess, but I kind of like the patina that being messy with it gives. And then last step is we've taken that field gray uniform color, put a little bit of white in it, and we are going to dry brush all of those, really all the green areas, not even all the highlighted or raised up areas. I like to do everywhere because you're just going to bring a little bit of that color back into certain spots. So even on like on his shoulders where it's kind of flat, it's just going to bring some of that original field gray color back. You're going to have a light field gray, the field gray, and then the kind of patinaed field gray and the black wash. It's just more color is going to end up making his uniform just look better. I love dry brushing. I think it's probably, if you don't do it, I think it's my favorite part of painting any model. It just looks so good. Next up, we have our brick wall, which we have primed in Tamiya Primer, which I ended up receiving as I was making this. And I got this from the Ammo by Mig book. We got yellow, green, red, and then I forget what's other, it's like a bluish color there. Get that painted in different spots, let that dry, and then we're going to mix up our brick color, which is the dark track and the red. Less noticeable on this side, but as we turn it around, that's the effect that you get if you airbrush it carefully. So I went a little bit heavy on one side. I think that side's perfect. Bricks aren't all the same color. That just gives us a little bit of that kind of multicolored, different colored bricks. And there's no order that you have to do it. Next up, because I didn't want to spend too much time on this. I didn't want to go through the 12 steps and 15 steps I found in all these different places. I just took the oil brushers. It's the buff color and white, and I mixed it with a pretty good amount of thinner. So you'll see here it's really like flowing, like it's a wash. We made our own wash is what we did with oil. And the more and more I use the oil brushers, but oil paint in general, the more I just think it's the best weathering product that we have in modeling in general. And maybe not the most common, but it probably should be, because it's very, very versatile. You can do a lot with it, and you can take all of it off if you want to. So I let that set up for maybe an hour again, and then I'm not going to dip my brush in any thinner. I'm just taking the brush dry, and we're going to very lightly try to brush off as much of the paint as we can while leaving this wash in the recessed areas between the bricks. It's a little bit difficult on some of these areas of like the broken brick wall there, but just go light with it and keep that kind of tan sandy color within the cracks and crevices, and it worked really well. I thought maybe I'd have to do another layer, but one layer I was very happy with the results. I have seen maybe more realistic or better looking brick walls, but none as simple as that. And then the last step is we're going to come in with the brick color again, and we're just going to do a little bit of dry brushing. Being, again, super, super gentle here. I don't want to get any of this in the cracks and crevices. I just want to get a little bit of that pop of, the full color back in there, so that we have the multicolored bricks underneath, we have the color from the wash, and then we have the color from the dry brush. It's just going to bring out, more color and things like that. On the bottom of the brick wall, I just mixed German gray with a little bit of white paint, just to make it look a little bit different than, the German gray helmet, but not too much lighter. I pretty much just looked at the box art and kind of modeled it after that. And once we have this dry brushed, we are done with the brick wall. So there you have it. If you haven't already, I would please ask you to like and subscribe. We will be doing many more of these videos. I've been having a lot of fun with really small dioramas. I don't have a lot of room to keep big dioramas, so we'll keep them these like kind of vignette sizes, but try to get really creative with them. The wood crate, I ended up doing the same way, which is just painting in a wood color, black wash, scrape it off, dry brush, and really, really happy with how this works. So again, I would please ask you to like and subscribe to the channel. We will be doing these as well as many more model building videos, reviews, painting videos, put some how-tos up here, eventually in due time, and we'll have a lot more fun doing a lot more of these. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know, if you like it, if you find it helpful, if you're a figure painter, whatever topic you want to bring up about it. But I'm still working on what I want to do with the face. I have a couple things that I've been kind of trying with some of the oil brushers. Just, I don't know. I'm not an artist, so I don't know everything on these, but I don't like eyes. I don't know why. I mean, I do know why. They end up looking cartoony, at least from my perspective. But how to get maybe a little bit more of a refined, structure of the face and things like that. So again, I'll leave you guys with the finished product here for maybe the last minute, but we will see you on the next video.